This recipe is a traditional holiday item: small boiled white onions with cream sauce. I have placed the 2 3/4 pound of peeled onions into the pot with a high flame and 1 quart of milk. As soon as the item just comes to a boil, lower it immediately. It won't scorch in this pan. This is a thick bottom skillet, but as soon as it does get hot, you want to lower the flame just to make sure. Along with the items that I mentioned, we have 2 bay leaves, 2 cloves, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, and we're going to cook this until the onions are tender. While the onions and cream and milk are cooking, in the pot next to it I made a very thin roux and smooth. There are no lumps in it, because this time I don't plan on straining the sauce. As soon as the onions are cooked, I will remove the onions from the pan and I will pour the milk into this pot with the roux. This roux is 2 ounces of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour. Now we don't want to cook this too much. We don't want it to discolor the white cream sauce that we want to make. So we'll just leave that off now and wait. As soon as the onions, as I've mentioned, come to a boil, we'll simmer it, and we'll also put a nice tight lid on this. And you can very easily tell when the onions are cooked because they are tender. And in my other videos I always show that I use an item like this. If you can't tell by just looking at the onions, then you pierce one. It's stuck. That means they're nowhere near cooked. If they were cooked, you push this little stainless steel rod into the onion and it will just pull out ever so easily. Then you know the onions are tender. This is good for 15 portions at 4 onions per person. As you can see now, the onions are starting to move because the milk is starting to boil. Now I'll mix it, feel it. The bottom of the pan is nice and smooth. And at this point, we're going to put the lid on there and cut the flame down at least halfway. Nice tight lid, and the flame will reduce to half. And we'll set a timer on this just to let you know about how long it will take for the onions to cook. I'm going to set it for 15 minutes and we'll see if I'm correct. Let's check the onions again. It's been almost 10 minutes since I've set the timer, and I've also scraping the bottom just to make sure nothing is sticking, which it isn't. I'll lower the flame, as you can see, almost to a simmer. Let the onions cook slowly, and they're going to get cooked, whether it's a rapid boil or a slow boil. 25 minutes have elapsed and the onions are cooked. I'll remove them from the milk. And then we'll go about thickening up the milk to make a nice thin cream sauce. Then we'll taste it again to see if it has enough salt. I'm going to pour the milk into this pot. If you notice the type of pots used at home, they're not as large as commercial pots. And if you see the flame, notice how it rises up the side. That means you're losing a lot of heat. And what I'm going to do is, this is on high, I'm going to pour the milk into this pot, whisking it. I'm going to remove this pot and pour the milk back into the large one, and also lower the flame, because now that the milk is thicker, you have to be even more careful that it won't scorch on you. As you see, there is a larger surface area in this pot, and also you don't lose any heat. We'll just pour this into here. This is cleaned. We didn't waste any roux. And we'll raise the flame a little bit until we see a few bubbles. Then we'll lower it and let it simmer just for a few minutes. And if I played it right, that roux should have been just enough to thicken this up. And if you keep on stirring, you won't give this cream sauce a chance to stick on the bottom and scorch. I'm just waiting for a few bubbles, then I'm going to lower it and let it simmer, and it'll thicken up. This doesn't have to be made the same day either. There is absolutely no problem in making this a day or two ahead, refrigerating it, putting it back into here with the onions. There we go, now we're getting a boil. So we're going to reduce the flame a little bit to about halfway. And when you do this and you save it tomorrow, the sauce is even thicker. So we don't want to make it too thick today, because I happen to be using this tomorrow for my Thanksgiving meal. And in the future, when the website is ready, chefrobertcorey.biz, I will have more videos and a lot of recipes just in text form, which will be free. But then there will be other videos that go in depth on certain type of cooking and recipes, which will not be free. You follow these videos that I've been making, guaranteed you'll be cooking better than most of the places you've eaten, especially catering facilities. And remember, everything I make is seasoned, so you don't have to worry about under seasoning or over seasoning. Well, the sauce is thickening just fine. That was the correct amount of roux that we use. 3 tablespoons of flour and a half a stick of butter, or 2 ounces. That's good, I like that. And the taste, we're going to have to add another teaspoon of salt. That'll bring it up to 2 teaspoons of salt, sea salt. And that should do it. Very good. Now we'll add the onions back into the cream sauce. Bring this to a boil, and the item is done, except for one minor thing. I am removing 1 cup of cream sauce from this. I forgot one very important item that I always add to my cream sauces when I'm using milk. And what might that be? Take a guess. Yes, that's right. Heavy cream, just to make it a little bit more richer. So we've taken out 1 cup, and we're going to add one-third of a cup of heavy cream. And that other 2 ounces of butter to make it just a little bit more richer. Now this is not everyday cooking, we all know that. This is just once in a while, so if you're going to make something, make it taste as tasty as you can. And with a little cream and butter, that'll do the trick. That's it, we're done. How nice.